Okay, Phaeton. He said, you need to come get me. I said, Phaeton, I'll be there in 30 minutes. And he said to me, 30 minutes? They're here at my job. And he was referring to the press. And he said, I need you to come now. I work at a large high school, and I'm trying to wait on the buses and so forth. And I had already talked to my boss, but I felt the need at that time to leave and go. And there were times that when he would say that, I would go immediately just to make sure he was okay, because he was concerned about press, about his safety and so forth.
So paranoia kind of has a negative context. If it's not real, I guess it's paranoia. If it is real, I guess it's still paranoia.
Right.
But he felt paranoid.
Right.
And you recommended counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know if that ever got arranged?
Yes.
And do you know if he went?
Yes, he did.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Cross-examination. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
First name's William, last name's Weems, is that correct?
First name is Twain, middle name is William, last name is Weems.
And Santana refers to you by your last name?
He refers to me as William. For a lot of Hispanics, Twain is difficult to say, so they will call me William.
And you were close friends, good friends, sort of friends, or acquaintances with Mr. Santana on April 4th, 2015?
Phaeton and I were good friends. We hadn't spoken in a while, but we were good friends. We talked quite often and talked about the Dominican Republic. We've even traveled there together.
And did you discuss news events, or I mean, when you got together, you talked about baseball, or what type of relationship did you have with him?
Phaeton and I talked about the Dominican Republic a lot. We talked about life in the Dominican. He was, when I met him, he was about to have a child, so we talked about that. Those were the basis of our conversations.
And what was his wife's name?
I don't remember her name.
What's his child's name?
And I don't know his child's name right now, sorry.
But he was a close friend.
Yes.
Now, in the friendship you had with him, you wanted to protect him following the events of the morning on April 4th on Craig Street. Is that correct?
Yes, when that happened, my goal was to make sure that Phaeton was okay.
And part of that protection was physical, or was it social?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
In other words, was the protection, the word protection, a term used to protect his physical being, or his mental being, or his social being?
At that point in time, Phaeton was concerned about all three. When we talked, he was concerned about physically being harmed. He had some things that were going on as far as, you know, just some paranoia and so forth. So yes, all three.
And as far as that paranoia goes, what's the name of his therapist?
Well, he was meeting with Trey at the time, at one point in time, because Trey came to my apartment to meet with him. And that's all I know. And I know Trey because he works at the school.
But I'm talking about a therapist now. You're familiar with the Charleston Area Mental Health that provides free services for those?
That's who I'm talking about.
Paranoid?
I'm talking about the person that came to meet with him when he had set up therapy. And the only reason I knew his name was because he worked at the school.
And do you know whether there was ever any therapy given at the Charleston Area Mental Health?
I do know he did attend therapies.
You went with him?
No, I did not.
How do you know that?
Because one, Trey came to my home, and he's from the MUSC. Also, he went and he used my address, and because he used my address, there are bills that come for him.
And I'm sure if he attended therapy at the Charleston Area Mental Health, there's some record of it.
That I don't know. I am not, that's above my scope.
But you are a researcher, as you had indicated earlier. You work at Stahl High School, and you're an educator, therefore you are a researcher. Is that correct? That's your testimony.
I can figure things out. I didn't feel a need to figure out whether or not he was receiving therapy. I can tell you, as I said, what I know, but I didn't see a need to research that. It's not my business.
Now, did you research Mr. Anthony O'Neill, the attorney that Mr. Santana went to see?
I did not research him. All I can tell you is when we were there, we were not comfortable. I wasn't comfortable, and Phaeton wasn't comfortable.
And did you know that Mr. O'Neill is an attorney with an established practice in Charleston, South Carolina?
I do not know. I did not research him.
And Mr. O'Neill's African American,
Yes.
and he is in his 60s,
I don't know how old he is. He appeared to be in his 60s.
but he's not a member of the House of Representatives.
No.
He's not a politician.
No.
Yet Mr. Bamberg, who you first saw, who was sitting in here earlier, is a member of the House of Representatives, and that's who is representing the Scott family.
Okay.
I'm asking,
I didn't know that at the time.
and you know that now.
I do know that now, yes.
And you know that Mr. Rutherford is the minority Democratic leader in the House of Representatives,
I know that now as well.
and he's a politician.
Yes.
And it was based on that advice to go to the meeting.
I did not have the conversation when he went to the media. He told me that he wanted me to come with him when he went to the media. I did not involve myself in that conversation.
And NBC paid your way to go to New York.
Yes, they did. I didn't pay for it myself, so
You're not related in any way to Mr. Santana.
no, I'm not.
Yet you went up to New York City. What day was it?
That was on a Wednesday.
And was Officer Slager arrested on Wednesday?
I really don't remember. Maybe so.
And did you go to New York City and talk to Morning Joe?
Did I talk to Morning Joe?
Did you go to the Morning Joe set at NBC?
I was at the set, yes.
And did you go to CNN and go on their set?
I was at the set, yes, I
And
was.
did you go to the Today Show and was on their set?
Yes, I did.
How many more television interviews did you do on set in New York City?
There were a few. I don't remember. There were a few, and he did some in Spanish as well.
Telemundo,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Correct.
You say anything to anybody in the New York City Police Department that you had this video of a police shooting?
Did I say something?
Yes.
No, I didn't talk to anybody.
Did you tell anybody in the New York City Police Department that you were with a fellow filmed the shooting of a person by a police officer, and that the fellow that did the filming was scared to death?
No, I shared that with his attorney. I felt like that was where I needed to share that.
Did you tell anybody from the Charleston County Sheriff's Department that he was scared to death?
I shared it with his attorney.
Did you tell anybody from the City of Charleston Police Department he was scared to death?
Once again, I shared it with his attorney.
Did you talk to anybody from the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department?
I talked to his attorney.
Did you talk to the State Law Enforcement Division?
I talked to his attorney, and I felt his attorney would take care of that.
His politician attorney?
Well, initially, I spoke to his initial attorney, and his initial attorney said that he has no reason to be afraid. And when he said that, I looked at him and I told him, and this is the reason why I felt uncomfortable, if his fear is real to him, then it is real. And those were part of the reasons why he left, that attorney.
Because Mr. O'Neill said he had nothing to fear because there were honest, hardworking police officers all around the Charleston community, from the FBI to the State Law Enforcement Division to local police. Isn't that correct?
He didn't say that. He said that he has no reason to be afraid, and that was it. And as I explained to him, if he has a fear, then that fear is real to him, and it should be addressed. And he should not be placated and told that it's not real.
In any event, you all went up to New York, fear or not. No fear of flying, was there?
No.
Was there any fear on the streets of New York City?
There, as I said before, Phaeton was at a state where he was paranoid. And that's why he felt comfortable with me being there and felt comfortable with his family being there.
And is this a picture of Mr. Santana on that day before you talked to the police in New York City?
Where's the picture?
I'm waiting for it.
Your Honor, again, I'd ask that it be marked as an exhibit for the record.
You wish to have it marked as an exhibit?
No, sir. I'm asking him if he can identify Mr. Santana in New York
You
City.
not publish anything to the jury. It's not in evidence.
May I be heard, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to the jury room, please do not discuss the case. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I was not intending to mark this in evidence. I don't think that's the appropriate thing to do. I can mark it for identification, but I don't believe that it's necessary to do more than that.
Well, the problem is publishing something to the jury and then asking, can he identify it? If he cannot, then it's been published to the jury.
So
If you,
If I ask him if he can identify the shot of it, if he can identify it, could I mark it for identification and then show it to the jury?
you're asking for procedural advice or from the court?
I just don't want to have to ask the jury to leave every time I try to do something.
Well, you wanted to, why don't you see if he can identify it?
I want to show you a photograph, not the rest of the documents information, but the photograph itself. Are you familiar with
Okay, and
the
before you, as you show it to him, do you wish to have it marked for identification so that the record will reflect what document you are using, Mr. Savage? For identification purposes.
marked as defendants for identification 2, can you identify the photograph?
Yeah, that is Phaeton Santana.
And do you know where that picture was taken?
Here it's clearly at the Today Show, where the Today is in the background.
Now, I would like to publish that to the jury.
Okay, no problem. Let's just be at ease for a few moments. Good time for a stretch break anyway. 39, I guess it is. Stay in a stretch break. Be at ease for just a moment or two.
This exhibit is more than just a photograph. It has all sorts of writing all around it. If they want to introduce the photograph cropped from this page, I don't object to that.
Do you have that capacity?
Yes, when we asked the witness, I asked him just to refer to the photograph, not to any of
Yeah, I'm referring to, you were about to put something you said was coming up on a screen somewhere. Is what's coming up on the screen just the photograph?
Yes.
All right. You can bring the jury, please.
Yes. Oh, okay. Cool. Everybody from Ohio is down here. I said everybody from Ohio is here.
Judge Patrick, thank you. Let's see.
Mr. Williams, before the break, I was asking you about your trip to New York, and you were with Mr. Santana in New York. Do you recognize this picture?
Yes,
And who is that and where is that?
that is Phaeton Santana, and that is at the Today Show.
And did Mr. Santana have any security from NBC or any other media agencies in New York?
No,
Did Mr. Santana, was he able to walk around from NBC to CNN to CBS to ABC to Fox News without security?
well, he was actually taken to those places, and he didn't have security, and at that point in time, neither he nor I knew what to do or who to ask for security, but the as I said, the concerns were addressed or made clear to those involved.
Taken there in a limousine?
I'm sorry?
Taken around in a limousine?
It was an SUV.
A black SUV that's used for transportation? Shiny, nice, NBC?
Well, it was a black SUV, yes, it was. So,
Now, did you indicate that he had family in New York?
yes.
Do you know where that family was from?
Yeah, his family's from the Dominican Republic. They
So they flew from the Dominican Republic up to New York to meet him?
No, his grandmother got a residency and a citizenship here and then sent for her children. And Phaeton was young at the time, beginning high school, when his aunts and uncles and mother and dad came over.
Well, I'm talking about April of 2015. You had indicated that a relative came to New York City.
Right.
Did that relative come to New York City from the Dominican Republic?
No,
Where did that relative come from?
he came from New York, New Jersey area.
Right across the George Washington Bridge.
I don't know where he lives, but
Was there any effort to get Mr. Santana to stay with his relatives across the bridge, or was that not considered?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, it's clear that he was scared, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So didn't have relatives in South Carolina, is that correct?
Correct?
And he was scared being in South Carolina, is that correct?
Correct?
But he didn't appear to be scared in New York City, was he?
I believe that he had a fear and a paranoia wherever he was, even in the picture. You see he's not smiling. So it wasn't as if he was happy. However, if you want to know, I'll let you ask the question. I'm sorry.
His family lived right across the bridge in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
is that correct?
Correct.
Did he go and stay with them, or did he come back to Charleston?
He came to Charleston. Then he did go back and stay with his family. And then eventually he came back to Charleston.
Now, when he came back to Charleston, the information had still not been provided to law enforcement. Is that correct?
I don't know if it was or not, but it was shared with his attorney.
And he conducted more television interviews when he came back to Charleston. Is that correct?
When he came back that day? Or are you saying after that?
That day, the next day, days later?
He did conduct some interviews, yes.
And then within a week, he decided not to do any more interviews. He wanted to be paid for them.
He was never paid for interviews that I know of. He never asked to be paid for interviews.
So, do you know that he hired an agent for celebrities?
I don't believe he hired the agent. I believe that came through his attorney. But once again, I don't know 100%.
And do you know within a week of the incident that he refused to allow any news media broadcast the video without payment of $10,000?
Oh, that was published in the newspapers and so forth?
When you first found out about the video, you had a discussion with him, did you not, about the media?
I had a discussion with him. I had a discussion with everyone. I knew that it was going to become a big item. I told Attorney Stewart that this is the precipice of something big, yes.
And you made some phone calls. on
Yes, I
his
did.
behalf.
Yes,
And among the phone calls that you made were to news organizations.
yes, I did.
And this was on April 4th.
It was on April 4th. I believe so, yes.
Days before, you knew of the video, you made phone calls on his behalf, including to news organizations, at least 2 days, if not 3 days before the video was turned over to law enforcement.
Correct. At that time, I didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. And yes, I made phone calls. I I had a friend who worked for the news. I called him. And then I called someone else because I didn't know what to do. It was put in my lap, and yeah, I was concerned, and I made some phone calls.
And you all discussed how much to pay for the video.
That came up. Faden was concerned. He just came here. He didn't know what to do. He wanted to go back to the Dominican Republic. And I discussed all options with everyone. And those were things that I discussed.
Including selling the video.
I discussed all options,
Did
yes.
you discuss with him not selling the video, but turning it over to the FBI, the State Law Enforcement Division, the City of Charleston Police Department, the Hanahan Police Department, the Orangeburg Police Department? Which police department did you recommend he send it to?
At that time, I didn't recommend any police department. Later, I told him he needed an attorney because the attorney could better help ferret that out.
And it took days to do that.
No, it didn't.
Now, you're a teacher, you're an educator,
Mhm.
you said that you do research, and as his good friend, you didn't tell him the best thing to do with that is turn it into law enforcement.
Well, Phaeton went and talked to the police that day, which he made very clear. He told them he had the video, and he was afraid. He left because they had asked him to wait. When he said he had the video, he said they stopped, they asked him to wait, and he went to work. At that time, I did not tell him to turn it over because I did not know which way it would go. I can tell you that the concern is whether it would have been released, whether it would have been altered, and those were some of the reasons why I called the news media. But even with them, we didn't talk to them because they instantly said email the video. So I did not turn it over to anyone, and I, at that point, told him that we needed to talk to an attorney, or he needed to talk to an attorney, which he did. And we're talking about a Saturday and a Sunday. And on Monday morning, he went and saw an attorney.
That was Easter Saturday, right?
Correct.
Do you know of any police department in the country that goes to the Easter weekend?
As I said, there was a concern as far as what the police would do with it. He was not trusting. He just saw a police officer shoot a man 8 times in the back. He was not trusting at that time.
The translation of this paragraph.
Your Honor, again, I would object to items being published without being marked and authenticated before they're published. We've been through this.
Sir,
This particular,
And now Mr. Savage is testifying in front of the jury.
I guess,
pardon? Well, turn it off. Do you have a hard copy of something?
in your conversations with Mr. Santana, have you ever discussed his songwriting?
Mm-hmm.
You must answer.
Yes. No, because I'm not a licensed translator, so I wouldn't translate his songs.
Did you have to translate anything for him during the course of your friendship with him?
No.
Never.
No, I helped him fill out his residency application, but as far as actually translating for him, Phaeton, as I said before, functions well in English.
And when he was interviewed on various television stations, did he have any problem speaking in English?
Once again, he spoke well in English, but when you're nervous, you want to revert back to your native language.
Being on a national television program, did he appear nervous to you?
Oh, he was definitely nervous to the point where he asked several times to have me come out with him, which I stated earlier.
When he was on live TV on a national audience, did he appear nervous?
If you're asking my opinion,
Yes.
when he spoke in English, he was nervous. When he spoke in Spanish, he did an excellent job. When he did Telemundo and so forth, it was a big difference. But when he spoke in English, yes, he was nervous, and he paused a lot to make sure that he thought things through.
When he spoke in English on the Today Show, on Morning Show, on Anderson Cooper, on CBS, on ABC, on Fox News, he spoke in English,
Yes,
and there was no need for an interpreter.
he wanted an interpreter, but he was able to do it. He was able to do it on his own, which,
And you were there,
yes, I was.
and did you have to interpret for him?
No.
When he testified in court, was there any need for you to interpret for him?
No.
Are you familiar with this document?
I'd have to look at it. I'm not familiar with it.
Can you translate it for us?
Once again, I'm not a translator.
Familiar with the document.
I'm not a translator. I mean,
The judgment sustained.
You're familiar with the Spanish language, right?
I'm familiar with the Spanish language.
Let me bring this back to you and see if we can translate it.
I can tell you what it means in English, but I am not an expert translator to give you an expert translation. But I can definitely tell you what it means in English.
You want to go through it and tell us what it means in English?
Your Honor, again, we object. This document is not an evidence that Mr. Savage can lay the foundation and introduce the whole thing under the rule of completeness. It's not a problem, but doing it this way is not how
How
it's
is it
done.
that the solicitor gets to testify, but there's an objection that the defense does? I object.
Both objections are sustained.
Thank you, Ron. I have no further questions.
Anything further of this witness?
No, sir.
You may step down. Next witness.
They were called Clarence Habersham.
Let's all stand, get a little stretch in before marking the fire. Just stand right there for a moment. All right.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you shall give the court, the jury, and the trial in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Please state your first and last name and spell your last name violently.
Clarence Habersham Jr. Last name is spelled Habersham.
Good afternoon, Mr. Habersham.
Afternoon.
Could you please tell our jury how old you are?
38.
And where are you currently employed, sir?
I am currently employed for Aramark Clothing Manufacturer.
Okay, and what do you do for Aramark?
I'm Associate District Manager.
And if I'm not mistaken, you just engaged in that new employment opportunity, did you not?
Correct.
And where did you work before that?
I was a North Charleston police officer.
And how long were you a North Charleston police officer?
About 9 years.
Where'd you grow up?
Born and raised in Mount Pleasant.
And where'd you go to school?
I attended Wando, but I graduated from Fort Union Military Academy. From there, I went to Elon University, left in 2003.
Okay. I believe you played football, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when did you start at North Charleston Police Department?
I got hired in 2007, the same year I graduated from the police academy, and got my first assignment all in 2007.
What assignments did you have once you joined the North Charleston Police Department in 2007? Just kind of take us through your career there, if you would.
Okay, my first assignment was the South Bureau of North Charleston, evening shift. I worked there for a year and a half, 2 years. From then,
For the jury's benefit, North Charleston is divided into South, Central, and North, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's 3 different bureaus.
Yes, sir.
You were in South,
yes, sir.
and you were on patrol back then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then what did you do?
Then I was assigned to the bike team. From there, I tried out for SWAT, made SWAT, then subsequently was assigned to the ILP unit.
What is the ILP unit?
It stands for Intelligent-Led Policing. It was a mini full-time SWAT team. We executed search and arrest warrants for the agency.
Okay. And did you end up returning to the street?
I did. I returned in 2013, I believe, to evening shift,
Okay.
day shift.
And where were you assigned at that time?
Zone 4, which is the Charleston Farm area of Remount Road, Rivers Avenue, mainly.
And that would be the Central Bureau
Yes, sir.
and Team 4, correct?
Team 1.
Team 1.
Yes, sir.
And was that your assignment on April the 4th of 2015?
Yes, sir.
And were you on the same team as the defendant, in this case, Officer Michael Slager?
Yes, sir.
How long had y'all been on the same team together?
Not long, several months.
Okay. And did you know him at all, really, before you and he were assigned to the same team?
I knew him by name. I really didn't know him personally.
And how would you describe your relationship with Officer Slager?
It was good, professional. We ate lunch throughout the course of several shifts together, so.
But it was primarily a professional
Yes, sir.
relationship? It wasn't, didn't hang out with each other on weekends or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. I want to talk to you about Saturday, April the 4th of 2015. Did you have the opportunity to be on duty that morning?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what time it was when your shift started?
Normally, we get in at 6:45 for squad briefing. We try to hit the road at 7 o'clock.
Okay. And was Officer Slager working that morning as well?
Yes, sir.
And could you tell our jury where you were at about 9:30 that morning?
I just received a dispatch call to serve a warrant at the Charleston County Jail, so I was at City Hall to pick up the warrant.
Okay, and what kind of warrant did you have to serve?
I believe it was a bench warrant.
Okay, and bench warrant is for somebody that doesn't show up to court in North Charleston, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you say City Hall, you're talking about the North Charleston City Hall and Police Department right there on Mall Drive
Yes, sir.
off of I-26, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what happened after you had picked up the warrant to serve?
I saw Officer Banez also at City Hall.
Now, who is Officer Banyan?
He's also on our team. He's in teammate of ours.
Okay, so you and Officer Banyan and Officer Slager are all on the same team?
Yes, sir.
Correct? Okay, so you were talking to Officer Banyan. Do you know why he was down there?
He was finishing up a call he was on. I think he logged some evidence at City Hall.
Okay. And what happened as you were talking to Officer Banyan at City Hall?
The course of our small talk, we heard Officer Slager go traffic stop somewhere on Remount Road.
Okay, did that cause
It-
did that cause you to perk up, just knowing that he had stopped somebody on traffic?
Not really perk up, but we kind of took note where he was and why he was there, so it wasn't anything really concerning.
Okay. And when you say you picked this up, do you have like a mobile radio on you?
I have my lapel mic
Okay.
around my chest, so I heard it clearly.
And you can send and receive radio transmissions over the equipment that is actually carried on your body? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so what happened to change that?
Right before I left to serve the warrant, we heard Officer Slager said he was 1080 on foot.
What is 1080?
He was a chase.
And what did you do?
I immediately ran back to my car, which was parked in front of City Hall. Officer Banez ran in the opposite direction, assuming back to his car. Got in my car, drove out the parking lot towards Mall Drive, activated my lights and sirens, and proceeded to Rivers Avenue.
Okay. And so you were going up river from Mall Drive to Rivers, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Then you would take a left on Rivers to head up toward Remount.
Yes, sir.
Was Officer Banez responding to the call as well?
Yes, sir. He was right behind me.
And both of you running, is it code 3, lights and sirens, or code 2?
Cold through.
Okay. Now, how'd you know where to go?
During the course of the foot chase, Officer Slager gave out his description of the individual who was chasing and location description.
Do you recall what that location was?
He said he was on Craig Street. Then he said he was on a golden path,
Yellow Road?
yellow brick road. So,
Did you know what he was talking about?
yes, sir.
Okay, because that's your territory too, correct?
Yes, sir. Not too long ago, we had a request to patrol Singing Pines, and one of the main entrances to Singing Pines is Craig Street, and you can see the yellow road from Craig Street behind the pawn shop.
Okay, do you know where that yellow road used to be, by the way?
No, sir.
Okay. And that location was radioed to you while you were en route to Remount Road, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Where is this yellow road in relation to the Megapon, the pawn shop on Rivers Avenue?
It's directly behind it.
Now, after receiving the transmission from Officer Slager indicating where he was, did you receive any additional transmissions while you were en route?
Yeah, Slager settled the radio 156, step it up.
And who is 156?
That would be me.
Okay, that's your call number?
My badge, yes, sir.
And step it up means
Hurry up. Yes, sir.
I'm assuming. And what did you do, where did you go when you got in the area?
Again, the path they were traveling, I knew that he would end up somewhere in front of the pawn shop, which is on Rivers Avenue. And that's the location I headed. As I'm approaching the pawn shop, I announced on the radio that I'm arriving on the scene. At that time, Slager came over the radio saying, "Shots fired,"
Okay, and where did you park your cruiser?
directly in front of the pawn shop.
You want me to witness come down for a moment? Mr. Havsham, the jury's seen this before, but if you would, standing to the side and just to kind of orient them. This is roughly north-south the way this is situated now, is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay, and could you show the jury Rivers Avenue? Rivers. Okay, and that would be the direction you're coming from? Yes, sir. And Fremont Road. And could you show them where Craig Road is? Craig, okay. And what is right at this intersection of Craig and Remount?
Parts store.
Okay. What kind of parts? Like auto parts?
I don't remember the name, but it was an old parts store.
Okay, and obviously, could you show the jury the yellow brick road? And is there anything else in that field besides this road? Is there any structures or anything of that nature?
No, sir.
Are you familiar with any of the businesses around there? You said Megaphone for one thing. Where's Megaphone?
That'll be Megaphone.
And could you show the jury where you parked your cruiser?
Right in front.
Okay. And do you put these businesses over here on that side of Megaphone?
Gerald, that's the laundromat slash convenience store and Marie's Diner somewhere in there as well.
Okay. And do you know what this building is?
It's the office building, but I don't know what they do, what is it, or
Okay. What is this structure right here?
that's a auto dealership. At the time, it was not functioning, so it's closed down.
Okay. And when you parked your car, did you radio Officer Slager that you had arrived?
I notified dispatch from on the scene, getting officer later, told us the shot was fired, and so back driver's taser.
Okay, so you got that transmission from Officer Slager regarding shots fired after you'd already parked your
Yes, sir.
cruiser, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how did you get back to the Yellow Brick Road?
Well, there's a back alley that leads to the opening to the field. So I parked there knowing that there's a opening that you can go from front to back to the business.
Okay, and there's kind of a fence with a gate right in that area, is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
So you ran around there and went through the gate that way?
Yes, sir.
And what did you see when you got to that area?
Officer Slager was running away from Scott.
So running away from you and away from where Mr. Scott was?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct? And where was Mr. Scott roughly?
Roughly almost close to the Memphis tree.
Okay. Thank you. You can resume your seat.